Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. That was a good song for a good segue to a meditation. So let us go ahead and get in a very comfortable position, if you may. And take that deep breath in and release. Take another deep breath in and release. As you take that third breath in, with the light of God that surrounds us, just grab a little bit of that light in your hand. Put it to your heart. Cup both hands around it. Put it against your heart. Allow that light that is glowing on your heart right now to grow into a softball size. Let it pulse. Allow that light to grow to the size of your body, embodying you with it. This is the light of God that surrounds you. This is the love of God that enfolds you. As you continue to allow that glowing light, that aura around you right now, allow it to get even bigger and bigger. Before you know it, it's covering this whole sanctuary. Allow that to happen. For a few minutes there, allow that light to just float. Let it float above the sanctuary, outside the sanctuary. Let it move slowly above the sky, encompassing the city of Brownsville. As you now take another breath effortlessly, allow that light to continue to float above this nation, above all nations, above the earth. Now let it encompass the whole earth, this light of God, this love of God that enfolds us. As you allow that light to encompass that whole earth, allow it to continue to expand out to the universe. And as it does, be mindful of all the other little lights in the universe, the stars, the planets, the suns. Allow those lights to become those past ancestors of ours, past family members. And let that light of God and that love of God enfold each one of those little lights out there with our love, the oneness love. As you share that love with the presence of our ancestors and past loved ones, continue to remind yourself that this is the divine love that is meant to be. The divine love that through you and everyone else blesses and multiplies everything. Now for a few seconds, just be there in the silent, allowing that huge light emanate that love everywhere, to everything, to everyone, and all over the place. Breathe in and breathe out naturally, effortlessly. Allow that light to come and reorganize itself into a smaller aura, descending down from the heavens, back onto the earth, into this sanctuary, and back into your heart. Allow that feeling, that emotion, that attribute of God to continue radiating from you in this human experience. As you gently open your eyes and take one more breath in, just touch your heart and allow that feeling to just be with you as it is meant to be. Let it just be. And so it is. Well, how are we doing now? I'm still trying to focus. I had my eyes closed, and we hear about love a lot. It's Valentine's Day is coming. Yes, I'm wearing red for 3 different reasons. 2 of them are the Super Bowl. But also because we have a Valentine's Day coming up, that the part of this world experiences it and celebrates it. And most of the time we're celebrating a romantic love with our partners, with our loved ones, whether it's our parents, children. This is the love that has the human race all bedazzled, all befuddled. Why? Because it's really not the divine love that was meant to be. When we talk about the attributes of God, those are attributes, they're characteristics. That's how we are created in the image of God. The word image in Hebrew means likeness. Never meant to be copycat image. It meant to be the likeness in character and attitude, personality, whatever. The whole point is, when we have the power of God, of love, for example, we have 12 powers in unity. One of them is love. The Master Jesus called that one the greatest of them all, aside from faith and hope. Why would you think the Master Jesus would call that one the greatest of them all? Of course, Miracles talks about love and fear, doesn't it? It's better to choose love. Think about this. The love that we're talking about is a love that has unconditional love, unconditional stipulations. Because God's love is just that. It just gives and gives and gives without asking for nothing in return. That's not a human love. Not from what I experienced in this experience. It kind of goes in with the law of attraction. Have you ever heard of that phrase, the law of attraction? That law of attraction keeps all the planets in line, keeps all the galaxies in line in the universe. It keeps us in line, or we'd be falling off this planet. That's called gravity. But most of all, the divine love keeps us all connected. It draws us together as a human race to do the best for everyone. It is a force. It is a very powerful force that we have not really experienced in this human experience. Think about this. When we celebrate Valentine's Day, most of the time it's couples, for the most part. Let's say, what if we decided to celebrate this day, from this day forward, for everybody? For everything, everyone, every creation, including the animals and the plant world. Because there are people out there that are lonely. There are people out there that are lonely, and it should not be excluding people that are single, or animals that are single, or plants that are single. Plants don't need that, do they? They don't need that. Plants are just being. They set a better example than we are. A tree will live over 1,000 years in the same place. Go figure. But what's going on underground is a different story. Those roots are carrying on and on and on and on. No telling how far where that water leads it, I'm sure. But just think for a moment that the celebration of a romantic love could be a romantic love for yourself. And I mean romantic in the sense that we have to love ourselves before we can love anything else. We know this. We know this through experimenting with other humans. Divine love is definitely and most no doubtedly eternal. We've heard of happiness and joy, right? Well, there's a difference between joy and happiness. Joy is an attribute of God, so it's eternal. If we think about it in the human experience, happiness comes and goes. We're not happy all the time, are we? Okay? Think about that. Did you know that this week, Valentine's Day falls on the same day that Ash Wednesday does? I believe. Somebody just told me that. I'm trying to count the 40 days from there, but I can't do it right now. But I'm telling you right now, why not start right now? Especially going with the Lent season coming, to use this power, the greatest power of them all, utilize it in your everyday experience, in your every human endeavor that you are participating and contributing to. You know, the problem with this world right now is they're not doing that. Or we wouldn't have governments against governments, religions against religions. We wouldn't have greedy commerce minds. Consider that Charles Fillmore, in that book, Keep a True Lent, consider this. This is what Georgiana, what was her name? Georgiana Tree West. I wrote it down, but I don't have my glasses, so I can't really see it very well. But she said, in this book, we must learn to deny our selfish impulses and be obedient to the impulses of brotherly love. Let me read that again. We must learn to deny our selfish impulses and be obedient to impulses of brotherly love. Wouldn't this be a better world if we all did that collectively as a human race? Of course. That's what God meant for us to do. That's the love that was meant to be. Later on, Georgiana expounds a little bit on this idea. She uses the word fasting and feasting, because that's what Lent season is. Those 40 days of fasting. But Georgiana says this: why do we not just fast from criticism and condemnation, for example, and feast on brotherly love? Why should we not set the example that Jesus set back then? Didn't he say, love your enemy, or love thy enemy? Didn't he say that? Didn't he say, love your neighbor? How in the world would we love our enemy to begin with? And a lot of people have a problem with that. To begin with, if you're in the spiritual realm of Christ consciousness, connected to divine consciousness or divine mind, which is God, we wouldn't even have an enemy. There wouldn't even be a problem to love thy enemy then, because Jesus was in that consciousness of unconditional love, the divine love. Because when we practice this kind of love on Valentine's Day and thereafter, we're going to have a better life. And that is a guarantee. You will live a happier life, for example. Think about this. When you fast, it's kind of like denying affirmations and denials, right? Positive affirmations, feasting, denials of your things that you no longer need, that no longer serve you, like criticism, right? We don't need to be critical. We have to take a breath Take that moment to get centered and realize who you truly are. You're a spiritual being, living this human experience. And you hear this a lot at Unity, but do we really take it to heart? Like we took that aura of light in our heart today. That's why I did that meditation. I want you to practice doing it physically, because once you do that kind of intention, it works a whole lot easier. Because you're feeling, you're emoting. This is how we can allow these Lenten practices coming up to just mesh in, go with the flow of the love that we have to give to others. If nobody starts this brotherly love, the world is going to stay the same as it is. There has to be a ripple effect, and it is happening. There are more and more spiritual people arising from the ashes. There are more and more, as I look at Joel Osteen and some other ministers that I like to watch, they're putting in the word consciousness in there. They are. They're putting in the word positive affirmations in there. Where did they get that from? From you. Nobody else. Love permeates and radiates the way we did that meditation. So enjoy those greeting cards if you get them. Those Valentine's Days, the flower, the candy. I always like the day after, 70% off. I love it. And I'll go get my chocolate. So take that love into the Lenten season. Because love is not something that you technically see. You see the effects of it. Because it's an invisible force, just like God is. Did we not say in Unity, God is love? Love is God. There's no limitation to this love. There's no part-time love and full-time love involved here. It is like the spark of your divinity. You know, when somebody tells me, you are a spark of the divinity, I said, no, I'm not. I'm the full divine force. Because that little drop or that little spark it's up to you to make that one grow. Make that full spark or full drop of that water, just make it grow. Just the way we just did that meditation. Allow it to permeate your whole core being. There's not 100 or thousands of loves. There's only one. It's only one love. There's not thousands of them. The greater power that's called love inspires us. There's the force. There's that power. It impels us to do things that we've never done before, especially if it's a romantic love. How about the healing part? And that's the biggest one. The biggest one right there for me is when love heals everything. And you know why love heals everything? Because it's the greatest power. Think about this. How do we heal with love? How do we heal with love? Anybody? Give me one clue, one word. I'm sure you intelligent beings out there have a word to tell me how love heals. How does love heal?
Alignment with divine.
Alignment with divine, tuning in. What's the force that's going on there? Huh? Well, you don't have anger. You don't have hatred. What does anger and hatred do to the body?
Disease.
Tear it up. Heart problems, stomach problems, mental problems. Yeah. All you have to do is shift that way of thinking to the positive way of thinking. Better love than fear. Under the umbrella of love is all good. Isn't that what God is? Under the umbrella of fear is all bad. Going back to the apple in Genesis, that's what we're talking about. As the story went. If you don't see good in your love in this life, choose love. That's all you have to do. Choose the right way. How do we do that? Khalif, you tell me all these things in church, but I don't understand how we go about it. I'll give you a couple of samples. First of all, you get centered, like I said earlier. Erase all negative thoughts and traits. Stick to love, right? I had a friend named James Timmons, and I'm not gonna cut this short because I know I'm long-winded. He did not like me. It was junior high. And, I was a little Mexican kid with a taco in my lunch, and every time we went to lunch, he'd make fun of my taco. And he had a nice ham and cheese sandwich with nicely trimmed lettuce around it and everything. But he would always create some kind of conflict with me. And after school, we'd always meet. And I always ran home before the fight started. So this went on for like 2 or 3 weeks. And one time during lunch, when he saw me opening my bag, I decided to bring an extra taco that time. And I gave it to him. And he ate it. And gave me half of his sandwich. And that started a brand new relationship that I would never have thought it would have happened. Why? What power was working that day? Not knowingly, it was love. I thought it was fear at first. I thought I was doing it out of fear, but I had the courage to offer something to this poor guy that had problems, evidently. James Timmons, I'll never forget him. And I still see him today, and his kids. You'll be a lot happier if you can see that person as a good person, even if they're bad. See the Christ in them. We say that a lot, but that means see the good in them, even if they're bad. I've wrote many letters to prisoners in these prisons around Texas. It makes a difference. Some of them have started little church groups inside that I'd never believed would start them. But you can make a friend just by emanating that love in one way, shape, or form. You can set that example for others so the whole world can start getting better. It's going to be better for society eventually. At least in that drop of a little drop of water, that helped with James. What if you put yourself in their shoes? You don't know what they're going through. They might be faced with some deadly disease. They might have lost a loved one. They might have had a car accident and manslaughtered somebody inadvertently. That hurts. That will change a person. We don't know what people are going through. This is the human experience. All we can do is show them our love. And that's that divine love. We do have to forgive and forget. Remember? I'll forgive, but I'm not going to forget it. Well, then you haven't forgiven. Because when you forgive, you're giving what? When you're forgiving, you're giving what? You're giving yourself a good life. You're giving it for yourself. Seek the Christ. Seek the Christ in that person and that person and that person. I don't have a problem making friends today. They do. They might, but I don't. I'm going to set my ground. I'm going to get centered. I'm going to just be nice to people. And the best thing to do is just to give them something to take home, some kind of nugget that they can take home and say, you know what? I remember that guy at the Whataburger, because I always stop at this Whataburger. And I always talk to somebody and I drop a nugget. I remember that guy at the Whataburger. And that's what he told me today. He says, I remember you a couple years ago. Yeah, you gave me a very good lesson in 3 minutes. And I did. Because he was having trouble with his customers. And I said, shower them with kindness. That's all I told him. And he took that to heart. Just a little drop. Somebody gave a talk one time. I think it might have been Valerie. It might have been Valerie. But she said that there was a hummingbird that would drop a little drop of water on the forest fire, and he was doing his part. Can you imagine? That's what we're doing. That's why you're here today. So when you go out there in that human experience, because right, we all are spiritual beings. When you go out there in that human experience, think about that one word, Love. Think about how you're going to use it, how you're going to emanate that. In that one split second, in the elevator, in the line at HEB, wherever, just give it a try. We need that more here because there's no other love than divine love, the love that was meant to be. Thank you.